I have a question for you. I want you to think. Why do all the angels in the Bible, why do their names end with EL? Angel, EL. I want you to think about that for a second. And these angels, oftentimes in these books, in the Bible and the Quran, these angels come and they speak to people, right? They deliver messages to people. All right, so now I want you to think about an angle, not an angel, an angle. What travels on an angle? Light that comes from the sun, like from Ra, right? Isn't it interesting how, well, let's talk about light first. Light is an electromagnetic radiation, right? Right? And when light hits an atom, we are able to see it. When electromagnetic waves hit atoms, we're able to see objects. You turn the light on, simple. You turn the light on, you're able to see objects, right? Objects are made of atoms. The word angel and angle are not similar by coincidence. They're similar because light, you are a being of light. And light travels on an angle from the sun. This is why in the Aten, you saw the circle with the lights coming down, right? Right? So what I'm trying to get you to understand is that you are sometimes acting as an angel, as an angle for a person. This is the person, or this is you. And the angle might come to them, the angle of light, information. What I'm saying is sometimes you think of a person and they call you. Sometimes you hear a voice in your head and it tells you to do something. Quick experience, quick story. One time I was walking on 8th Avenue in Harlem. I was coming from 125th Street. I was going home. So traveling north to 146th Street. And I heard a voice in my head. The voice said, cross the street. I crossed the street. I end up on St. Nicholas. Then I run into a man named Cosmos and have the most profound conversation, one of the most profound conversations I had in my life. And the interesting thing about that conversation, it had to do with abstinence. The dude was like 60 years old, hadn't had sex in like 10 years. He was telling me all of these experiences that he was able to do from harnessing his energy. And at the time, when I followed that voice, I went and sat on a bench. I was reading a book. The book was the African Presence in Early Asia. And the part that I was reading was about how the Buddhas were talking about abstinence. So what happened there? There was an angel of light that came to me, because light can pass through, right? Radio waves pass through, light passes through to the pineal, because there's an eye here. You know what I'm saying? So light passes through and it goes to the pineal for your sixth sense. This is how people see things like angels. This is how people are seeing things and hearing things. This is what led me to my past life as Emmett Till. There was an angel, an angle of light that spoke to me in my ear. There is a scripture in the Bible. Where is it? I have it here. It's Exodus 23:20. It says, "See, I am sending an angel ahead of you to guard you along the way and to bring you to a place I have prepared for you." What happened to me when I was walking up 8th Avenue? An angle of light came to me. It wasn't Gabriel. It wasn't Michael. It wasn't Raphael. It was an angle of light, a thought, a voice in my head. More of a voice than a thought, because I heard the voice audibly say, cross the street. And I crossed the street. So sometimes these might be spirit guides, right? Those are spirit guides that speak to you in moments like that. Sometimes it's just your higher self, that intuition. You think of somebody, and to be quite honest, once you make a connection with a person, those are ties that you have with them, especially if you care about those people. There's a connection there. And they think about you. So many times I've been thinking about a person, or I might be texting them. See, the act of texting, I thought about them and I text them. When they receive it, I was just thinking, of course you were, because I already made a mental connection with you, right? So What am I saying here? It is 2025. 45 squared is 2025. This is 2025, the year of the snake. 2, 2, 5 adds up to 9. It's the year of completion. Rebirthing. The snake represents rebirth. I'm born in the year of the snake, 77. Emmett was born in the year of the snake, 41. The next time that there's going to be a squared year, perfect square, is 2116. The last time was 1936, if I recall correctly. So this is a time now. I know people say we're in a Gregorian calendar, you know, all of this and that. True, but numbers still speak. The numbers that we are all agreeing to, they're speaking and they're controlling us and they're governing us. And there's a number that you can't change: the rise and fall of the sun. They can't change that. 3 things can't be hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. You know what I'm saying? So this was basically a talk. I wanted to talk about angels and angles. You are sometimes acting as an angel. There are entities outside of physical bodies that are communicating with you. When I speak from the Bible or the Quran and I'm not speaking as if I think that they were real actual stories that happened in the past. That's not my reality. I think these books are written for 2 sets of people. People who will read them as real events and people who will read between the lines and get the esoteric fruit from it. And that's what I aim to do. So even when I speak of Jesus, I can say, hey, yeah, I want to be ye like Christ. I can say that because I know that the first Christ was the Christ. And when I say Christ, I mean the Pharaoh. The Nisut Biti, the mummified Pharaoh, was the first Christ. The first Christ was the Pharaoh, the enlightened being. And I know that the story of Jesus is the story of Krishna, the story of Haru. I know that these are the same motifs that have spanned the ages of time. In the book of John, Jesus tells his disciples that I am the light of the world. In the book of John, John says that God is light. You are light. You are an immortal being of light. In Genesis, it says that I created you in my image, or we created you in our image, right? So you are an immortal being of light. Your goal here is to build that temple so that you can to build your Solomon's temple, your divine temple, to be ye like Christ, to be ye like Christ, to be a luminary, a light being. And how do you build your temple? Your imagination, your imagination through meditation, fasting, prayer, actions of the heart, keeping your heart lighter than the feather, honoring your ancestors, and listening to the angels of light, the angels of light. Be guided by your heart. As the Nisut Biti in ancient Kemet is always seen with his left foot forward. Trample down evil with your left foot forward. The left hand is governed by the right side of the brain, which is the feminine, spiritual, intuitive, magic side of the brain. That's what you're supposed to do. That's my goal. That's what I'm working on. Am I there yet? No. But along my journey, I found some stuff that I'm trying to share with you. You're going to get this work today. I'm trying to share this with you, all right? Emmett came here, sacrificed his life. I'm here again with a new name. You know what I'm saying? In a new body, same soul, different body. And what you might want to do if you want to read a book that has to do with magic and reincarnation and the eternal nature of life, then you want to read my book, How I Came to Realize I Was Emmett Till in 2018, and How I Came to Realize I Was Tutemra in 2020. And in that experience, in both experiences, there was an angle of light that came to me. In 2018, the angle of light that came to me, which was helped by a series of events. First, I graduated in Egyptian yoga course. I fasted for 20 days, only drinking water. On the day I graduated, went to the African Arts Festival. I heard an angle of light in my ear say, walk away, you're going to meet a woman. She heard an angle of light that said, look up. We made eye contact. She invited me to the festival. I came back. I met another brother while I was there on July 3rd. He was used as an angle, and he gave me some ancient medicine. I went home, took that medicine, and in my ear, about 15 minutes later, I heard another angle of light, said, check your email. I checked my email, and boom, the rest is history. 2 years later, my life in ancient Kemet comes on April 4th. In that ceremony, I saw Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. They were there. So when you are having experiences and you say, I know that they were there. Your grandmother was there. Your grandfather was there. You know what I'm saying? So don't let these people take away the spiritual nature of who you are. There are things happening to you. Not everything that you think is happening the way that you perceive it. Sometimes you're wrong. I've been wrong on certain things. I've made ill judgments. But one thing I'm sure about, and two things for certain, that I was Emmett-Till in the past life, and I was Tutankhamun in the past life. I got my theories about other people, like Tupac, Rihanna, and other people. I got my other thoughts, but I can't confirm any of those people. But I know who I am. Why is that important? Because I'm telling you that we come back here. Emmett Till was murdered to bring forth civil rights. The name means to emit. What emits? Things like the sun emit light, right? Emit Till. Till is to cultivate. TutemRa, in the image of Ra. That voice was echoing in my ear, given to me on April 4th, 2020. I'm here to remind you that life is eternal. And this is the year of the snake. You know what I'm saying? Life is eternal. You come back here again. There is no heaven. There is no hell. There may be torment. There are some people, when you agree to something in a physical life here, yes, when you die, you might be walking around because you didn't learn anything while you were here. You may be walking around in a stupor, just like the movie Ghost, not knowing how to communicate or how to function in that frame of existence without a physical body. You are here to build Solomon's temple. You are here to build the church. You are here to build as on earth as in heaven. You are here to be ye like Christ, the Karas, the Pharaoh. You are here to do that. That's what you're here to do. Now, on the course between here and building that, from start to finish, there's so many things that you're going to experience. The thing about building this temple, it might take more than one life to really build that temple. You know what I'm saying? You might not build that in this life. You might build it in the next life. Do you understand? But it's all those magical experiences that happen to you along the way as you begin to subject yourself to self-imposed discipline, as you begin to live a disciplined life, as you begin to take care of this divine temple, Solomon's temple, you will begin to awaken. You will begin to have paranormal psychic experiences. Psychedelic, right? Angles. There's a play on words, language. And when you don't learn language, you will languish in it. Do you understand? You will be weak every day of the week. Do you understand?